This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Mark Martin. A leaked dossier from the so-called Five Eyes Alliance of Western countries last week accused China of a massive cover-up of the COVID-19 pandemic that amounts to what the report called an assault on international transparency. In this report, Chuck Holton finds the cover-up may be just the latest in a long-standing pattern of censorship and deceit by the communist nation.
This is something that could have been contained at the original location. They were either unable to or they chose not to, and the world has suffered greatly.
This after U.S. intelligence agencies report a possibility the pandemic may have resulted from an accident in a Chinese laboratory. The report in question came from the Five Eyes Security Alliance, an intelligence sharing cooperative between the U.S., Canada, England, Australia, and New Zealand. In a briefing April 29th, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was very direct in accusing the Chinese government of a cover-up.
We strongly believe that the Chinese Communist Party did not report the outbreak of the new coronavirus in a timely fashion to the World Health Organization. China didn't share all of the information it had. Instead, it covered up how dangerous the disease is. It didn't report sustained human-to-human transmission for a month until it was in every province inside of China. It censored those who tried to warn the world. It ordered a halt to testing of new samples, and it destroyed existing samples.
The Trump administration has sharpened its rhetoric lately toward the government of China, accusing it of not acting swiftly enough to contain the outbreak or alert the world to the scale of the problem. And while theories abound concerning the actual origin of the virus, many say that those theories miss the bigger question.
This was entirely orchestrated by Xi Jinping at the highest levels because they're a centrally controlled system. So based on his own words, they started the global pandemic.
General Spalding has been researching China for years and says the Chinese government intentionally allowed the virus to spread after the Chinese New Year.
December, they know there's human-to-human transmission. Xi takes over on 7 January. Somewhere around the middle of January, all of these people leave. So first of all, they come to Wuhan for their celebration. Then they leave Wuhan after many of them became infected to go to the four corners of the earth to spread the disease. So based on what Xi Jinping is saying about his control over the situation, he had full knowledge and essentially authorized the spread of the disease.
U.S. Attorney General William Barr recently explained in an interview with Fox News, this is all part of a larger effort by China to undermine the U.S. any way they can.
The Chinese are engaged in a full-court blitzkrieg of stealing American technology, trying to influence our political system, trying to steal secrets at our research universities and so forth.
And General Spalding says now is the time to change the equation concerning China.
What the coronavirus gives us an opportunity to do is really reset and isolate democracies from these authoritarian or totalitarian regimes that seek to undermine democracy, undermine free trade, undermine rule of law, undermine human rights and civil liberties, really undermine the entire fabric of the international order by essentially feigning agreement with the order, but working wholeheartedly behind the scenes in every instance and around the world to undermine it.
For CBN News, I'm Chuck Holton.
After President Trump's social distancing guidelines ended on Friday, states across the country are now working to reopen carefully, with most Americans ready to throw out state-enforced rules, leading to large groups hitting the outdoors already. A park ranger in Austin, Texas, was shoved into a lake as he tried to break up a crowd. In New York City, police cited more than 100 people for getting too close. This as efforts to develop a vaccine continue. At least 8 vaccines are in human trial around the world. Oxford University researchers say they could know by June if their potential vaccine is effective, and it could be ready as soon as September. The U.S. Supreme Court is back at work today and breaking tradition to do so in order to continue court sessions during the pandemic. The Supreme Court will now be making audio available live for 10 arguments over the next 2 weeks. Normally, recordings of arguments are only released to the public days after legal proceedings take place. Video cameras, however, are still strictly prohibited inside the courtroom. The court closed in March over concerns for health and safety during the COVID-19 outbreak. Jerry Falwell Jr. says our religious freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution should not disappear even in times of a pandemic. I spoke with him about why he believes preserving that is. The freedoms of our faith is all the more important in these times. First of all, you say the stand that President Donald Trump and U.S. Attorney General William Barr have taken to defend those rights is historic. Talk about that.
Well, you know, states' rights are very important. Our founders made sure that the states were independent and the federal government couldn't control them. So the president is limited in what he can do to change what some of these blue state governors are doing to shut down their states, I think intentionally to try to destroy the economy. But the Attorney General, I was so encouraged when I heard him say yesterday that he was considering court action against the governors to require them to give back individual liberties and religious liberties to the American people as required by the Constitution. And I think that's the only option the president has. I think the states that have done these things, New York, Michigan, Virginia, the list is long, but I think the ones that have gone overboard with the shutdowns have deserved to go bankrupt. I think they deserve to have their credit ratings reduced, and I don't think there should be a bailout for them.
Do you believe that people of faith, especially Christians and Jews, have been discriminated against during these times? Well,
it's just funny how they pick and choose winners and losers, who can stay open. Walmart's always packed. You know, the Home Depot, Lowe's is always packed. Grocery stores are always packed. But for some reason, suddenly it's dangerous if you go to church. And the liquor stores, the abortion clinics, for some reason, they're not dangerous. And so it just makes you wonder about their motives. And the governor of Virginia, for example, has cut on tuition assistance grants for Virginia resident students for any online students. Well, guess which schools have the largest population of online students in the country? Well, pretty much in the country: Regent University and Liberty University. And so it's no secret what they're up to. The governor even told his staff member, told one of my staff members yesterday that he was looking for a way to open aviation schools if he could find a way to do it without letting Liberty University's aviation school reopen. So the bias is unbelievable. It's, you know, there's no impartiality anymore in the media, in the big tech companies, and the blue states that have governors that are just completely. Our governor was elected by the people in the D.C. suburbs, and my family's been here since the 1600s, and I'm embarrassed that he's our governor. He's the worst excuse for a governor that I've ever seen.
Why do you think that we've seen this sort of treatment at the state and local level, not just in Virginia, but around the country? Why do you think that we're seeing what you've described, this kind of treatment?
Because liberals used to be of the opinion that they might not agree with you. Back in the 80s when I was in law school, they would say, I might not agree with you, but I'll die for your right to say it. But liberals nowadays have become authoritarian. And when authoritarians become dominant and they take power, the first thing they try to do is to destroy religion, because religion is a voluntary association of citizens who have no allegiance to anyone except God, and who get together, who talk, who if it weren't for the black churches in the 60s, the Civil Rights Act never would have been passed. And that scares politicians, because they don't like when people bypass them and take action on their own. And that's the big fear they have of Christians and religion in general. And it's obvious to me.
What can Christians do to protect their rights in these times and hopefully bring back national civility and unity despite people's individual beliefs?
Well, I think we just have to continue to we have to be savvy. We can't be duped by all the politically correct nonsense that's being floated around. The real numbers are starting to come out about this virus, and it's starting to be exposed. A lot of it is a hoax. I know it's real. I know a lot of people have died. It's very sad, just like the flu every year. But the numbers are coming in very close to the flu, according to Stanford and to a lot of other researchers. And Christians just need to understand that they don't need to give up their rights because somebody's telling them that there's a disaster, the wolf at the door. It's not a wolf at the door. It's God's in control, and it's not something that we need to just surrender and let government take over because we can't take care of ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to protect our individual liberties, our religious liberties, and we need to be strong.
Overseas, a new legal challenge against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatens his political future. On Sunday, Israel's Supreme Court opened discussions on whether Netanyahu can legally form a government while facing indictment on corruption charges. Netanyahu reached a power-sharing agreement with rival Benny Gantz last month, but his opponents say he cannot serve as prime minister while under indictment. The court has until Thursday to make a decision. If it rules against him, Israel will be forced into a fourth election. Coming up, social distancing guidelines are not just affecting businesses. Why one mother got a visit from her local sheriff's department. But before we go to break, here's a look at what's trending on CBNNews.com.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Welcome back to Newswatch. We're seeing more and more Americans facing what many believe is governmental overreach. One example is in Wisconsin, where a mother was given a warning visit by sheriff's deputies because her daughter was seen playing with the neighbor's children. I spoke with FaithWire.com's Trey Goins-Phillips about what happened. Trey, before we talk about the story of this Wisconsin mom, let's take a look at some of the video of her exchange with sheriff's deputies.
So, are you aware that we're in a stay-at-home order right now? Yeah, obviously.
By the government?
Yes, I am
Wisconsin?
aware.
Okay, you're aware of that?
I am aware.
So I don't need to explain that to you?
No, you don't need to explain that to me.
I can if you need me to.
Go, you can because your officer was just here 2 weeks ago.
Okay, do you need me to
and
explain
he explained it to me that you guys weren't enforcing that order.
Oh, we're about to.
Okay.
So you understand it, though?
Okay, so why are you here?
Because your daughter is going to play at other people's home, and you're allowing it to happen.
Trey, your thoughts on what happened?
Yeah, my first thoughts were just three words that came to mind was cringeworthy, condescending, and concerning. Everything about that video was just foreign to things that people in America should be used to seeing as a free country that values freedom of speech, obviously the freedom of movement around of its citizens. It was alarming. Was really what I thought of the encounter.
And I guess this mother continued to respectfully stand up to the deputies?
Yeah, and that was what was bizarre is that she was so respectful, and I mean she was obviously on her property, whether it's something she rents or owns, it's her property, and I was impressed really by how calm she stayed, how respectfully she engaged with them throughout the entire several-minute encounter. But regardless, even with that behavior, her good behavior, the police just kept going, and they held their ground.
There's another story out of Wisconsin about a teenager being threatened with arrest for posting on social media that she might have COVID-19. What's that all about?
Yeah, she's a 16-year-old girl in Oxford, Wisconsin. Her name is Amaya, and she had just recently traveled to, well, in early March at this point, had traveled to Orlando for a vacation with a few of her friends. And she returned early because the trip was cut short when all of these coronavirus restrictions started being implemented. And shortly after she arrived, she started experiencing symptoms of COVID-19. So she went to the hospital. They said she had an upper respiratory infection. She didn't qualify for a test. So she went home. She posted that she likely had coronavirus on her Instagram account, and then her symptoms worsened. She went back to the hospital. She tested negative, but the doctors at the ER did tell her she likely missed the window for testing positive, that false negatives are common, and she likely did have the coronavirus. So she posted once more that she was at home with the common symptoms of the coronavirus, a fever and a dry cough, difficulty breathing, and again posted that it was likely she had coronavirus and she just missed the window. And then the police ended up showing up at her house, or a sheriff's deputy showed up at her house and demanded that she take the post down because in their county there were no official COVID-19 cases. So she was lying. Essentially, they said she was causing distress and panic, like yelling fire in a crowded theater.
There's a civil liberties group representing her. What are they saying about how the sheriff and the school handled this situation?
Yeah, they're definitely holding their ground, saying that this is clearly an overreach of her rights as a free citizen to post about her experiences on her private personal Instagram account. But nevertheless, the sheriff's department is holding their ground, and they're vowing to, quote, aggressively combat the lawsuit that the girl and her parents are now bringing against the deputies, because in fact when they were at her house, the deputy refused to see any documents from the hospital. He said, I'm just here to follow my sheriff's orders, and even threatened jail time if she didn't delete the Instagram posts.
Did she end up deleting the post?
Yeah, she deleted the post, but her parents actually left it up to her. They said, you can delete the post or you can leave it up. Either way, we're going to fight this. But fearful after the police said that he was going to start arresting people, after the deputy said he was going to start arresting people and taking them to jail, she said, I'll delete the posts. But her parents have since, like I said, filed a lawsuit, and that's pending right now.
Okay. Wisconsin's stay-at-home orders have been extended, and the people are protesting there, right?
Yeah, the governor extended their stay-at-home order until May 26th as of right now, but people are not happy at all. The governor just made an argument. Well, I've got 1 million Wisconsin residents who support my decision to extend this restriction, the stay-at-home order, until May 26th. But a lot of the citizens there are starting to get unhappy. They're starting to get unsettled, which is something we're seeing throughout the country and other states as well.
All right, Trey Goins-Phillips with FaithWire.com. Thanks for bringing us this story, Trey.
Thank you.
And you can watch FaithWire's Faith versus Culture on the CBN News Channel tonight at 9:30 Eastern. Still ahead, how businesses are helping healthcare workers on the front lines combating the coronavirus pandemic.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
You're watching NewsWatch. Businesses are mobilizing to meet the needs of healthcare workers on the front lines. Across the country, leaders are responding by totally changing their production lines to turn out much needed protection equipment. Charlene Aaron shows us how one company's switch is helping more than just the bottom line.
Since 2008, Signature Canvas Makers has been known for making products for boats. But in light of COVID-19, the business has now turned into a major mask-making operation. Charlene Clark runs this small business with her husband, Chandler, supplying canvas material for water recreation and amusement park rides. Seeing the growing demand for masks and face shields, they decided to step up.
We said, you know what, we can do this. We have the ability to do this. We have the technology to do this. We have the network of people that we can bring in to do this. So it made sense.
Using computer design technology known as CAD, the company quickly retooled, switching from recreation to protection.
We have a cutting table, so that has allowed us to really scale and scale very quickly. So we're able to cut hundreds of masks at a time rather than one or two, or smaller quantities. So it has been a little bit of a departure, but it is canvas, it is textile, it is a textile product. So that's our business. That's what we do.
With a staff of 9 employees, the business normally makes 300 to 400 surgical and filter-style masks a week. Then the Navy came knocking with a major need.
We had an order for, our first really big order was for 1,600 masks for the USS Wasp. And they had a very definitive deadline that they were asking us to meet. And we had about a week to meet that deadline. No pressure.
Allows you to adjust.
Since then, military requests have been coming in from other parts of the country.
We've been working with different other commands, all the way from here in Norfolk all the way down to Pensacola, Florida, to supply quantities to their sailors. It's been a great transition for us.
That transition allowed the Clarks to meet another need. They hired more people, including those desperate for work.
We have about 12 to 15 ladies that are working for us from their homes. They've been laid off from their jobs, their normal jobs. Most of them are professional seamstresses or tailors.
Abigail Bomar was furloughed from her job at a small boutique.
It's been a great way to spend my time, great way to make some extra money.
Thankful also for work that is making a difference.
And doing something purposeful feels great.
A sentiment shared by her new employer.
I thank God every day that we are in the position that we are in right now. I have so many friends that own their own businesses that aren't as fortunate as we are to, they've had to lay off employees. They're on, potentially on the verge of losing their businesses. We are very grateful for this opportunity. We are very grateful that we are able to employ people on the outside and help them support themselves and their families. The fact that we've been able to help some of our sailors is something that's really special to us as well.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
A free online Bible program is encouraging virtual Bible reading during COVID-19 lockdowns. Tyndale House Publishers has teamed up with the Institute for Bible Reading to offer free resources as many churches remain closed. The two organizations have launched a 10-day virtual Bible book club called Immerse from Home. The program also encourages users to host video conferences through the software known as Zoom, with others reading along to discuss the text. And that's going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Have a great day.